Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sisai Kasu. With this video, we are going to discuss on how to calculate one of the most common food security indicators, that's also level. So we will use a simple Excel to calculate food consumption score. So before jumping into calculating the food consumption score, I just want to say something about a few things about food consumption score. So, as most of you know, food consumption score is a measurement or a metric used to assess the quality of individuals' or households' diet. So, it's commonly used in food security and nutrition assessment just to evaluate the dietary diversity and frequency of food consumption score. So with this, with food consumption score, we are going to measure the dietary diversity as well as the frequency of food consumption of a given household. So we'll use a 7-day recall method, the last 7 days recall method. So the food consumption score takes into account the consumption of different food groups, as you see here. So we have different food groups. Those are food items. Under this one, we have about 9 food groups, as you see here, and each group is assigned a score based on the amount and frequency of consumption. With that means like the food consumption score has its own definitive weight. Like, I mean, the food groups, each food groups have their own definitive weight. So the food consumption score typically ranges from 0 to 112. The higher the score indicates that the better consumption pattern. The lower the score, it is less and less food consumption pattern. So a higher score implies that an individual or household has access to a diverse range of nutritious food, and it's meeting their needs, their dietary needs. In the reverse, I mean, in contrary, a lower score suggests limited access to a variety of foods and a potential nutrition or nutrient deficiency. So the food consumption score provide valuable information for uh, project workers like us, for policymakers, and for researchers, and for different NGOs who are working on food security and nutrition. So saying this, I will just go directly to calculate how I will show you how to calculate the food consumption score using Excel. Okay, so as you see here, those are the groups. We have about 9 food groups. So each group have their own definitive weight, and for example, main staple has a definitive weight of 2, pulse has a definitive weight of 3, vegetable 1, and so on. Here, condiments have definitive weight of 0. So if it is 0, that means we are going to multiply condiments by 0. If you multiply any number with 0, the result will be 0. So most of the people ask a question why we are including the condiments while we are not interested to calculate. But it's very important to see how household food pattern is. Like, it will help us to know how that a given household have what kind of pattern do they have. So I advise you to include all the time. I advise you include the condiments so that you can see at least the pattern. Okay, saying this, let me go to my data set here. So I just copied from the bigger data set. So because of confidentiality and other issues, I don't want to work on the bigger data, but I just copied the result of the food consumption score data collected by one of the organization. So we have to clean this data before just jumping into calculation. So as you see here, this is left aligned. Um, all those scores are left aligned. Left aligned is it is a text, not a value. It's not a number. So if you add, for example, if you add this row, the result will be 0. Its count is 9. I mean 9 uh, rows. But let me show you, for example, if you are calculating it, the result will be 0. Why? Because those values are captured as a text. So we have to change it into value. We have to change it into number. Otherwise, we can't calculate any mathematical operation here. So to change the entire data set into number, I'm going to click here and Control C, which means copy. So I'll open Notepad. I'll open Notepad here and click Control V, and then I will again Control A, Control select all, and then again Control C, Control copy. I'm just using my keyboards. So I'll come here to my Excel and copy it here, paste it here, paste. Yes, okay. Here it is now. It's right aligned. Let me do the same thing, the same calculation that I just did. So when you add, you are going to get 20. That means now you can do any mathematical operation using this data set. Okay, we are not still there. We have to clean, we have to give a simple name based on the information we have. Based on the standards we have. So this standard is given by WFP and FAO. So, okay, sorry. Okay, okay. So I'm gonna write a simple name for each of the column so that I can easily calculate the items. So the first one says main staple. Main staple. I will just write here. Main staple. I will simplify the column heading. The column title. Here it is pulse. Here it is fruit. Here it is vegetable. Here it is animal. So with category of animal, we have meat and fish. So I will type here meat and fish. I just copied from the table. Here it is dairy. Dairy is, we can put dairy or milk. So for the sake of simplicity, let me put milk here. Here it is sugar. Here it is oil. Here it is condiments. Okay, now our data looks very simple and easy for calculation. So before going to calculate those data sets, I have to change it into table. So this is in array form. So, but I want to change it into table form. So to change it into table form, the only thing that you can do is insert table, entire table, then click OK. Okay. After doing this, I will put food consumption score and I will put category. So let me rename this one dataset. Okay, my dataset. So I'm going to calculate the food consumption score right here. So I'm going to multiply by a given weight. Okay, this one is equals to staple food. I think it's better to type sum. It will simplify my work. So staple food, main staple times what? Times 2. Here it is 2. Okay, times 2. Main staple times 2, comma, pulse times pulse times what? Pulse is, so you can print this one just to avoid going back and forth. So I'm gonna use my note here. So I'm gonna close it here. Okay. So pulse it is 3, 3, comma. Then fruit here. Fruit is 1 times 1, comma. Vegetable times 1. Then meat and fish. Sorry. So I forget to put comma. So meat and fish times 4, comma. Then milk again times 4, comma. Sugar times 0.5, comma. Oil times 0.5 again. Condiment, sorry, comma. Condiment times 0. You can use or you can just leave it. It doesn't change anything. Okay, so main staple multiplied by 2, as you see here. Pulse multiplied by 3. Fruit multiplied by 1. Vegetable multiplied by 1. Meat and fish multiplied by 4. Milk by 4. Sugar by 0.5. Oil by 0.5. Condiment by 0. So this is, assume this is household number 1, household number 2, household number 3. So the food consumption score for household number 1 is 37. The food consumption score for number two, household number two is 76. So FAO and WFP have again their own threshold level of food consumption score. So if the food consumption score is less than 28, we will categorize them. Sorry, we will categorize them under poor. If the threshold level is between 28 to 42, it is a borderline. If the threshold level is greater than 42, it is acceptable. Okay, then we'll use this one. Okay, let me copy it here. Okay, paste it here just for my reference. So what I'm gonna do is I will take the minimum one, the minimum threshold. So 0, the minimum, 28 here, 42. I just took the minimum and then I'll put 4 here, here borderline, here acceptable. Okay, now I will come here. I want my I want to categorize all the households based on the given threshold. So I will come here, then VLOOKUP. I will type VLOOKUP. Then I want to categorize this one, comma. The categorization will be based on this one. I'll select this. Okay. Then I'll press Fn from my keyboard, Fn, then F4. F4. I clicked Fn, F4. Then I want my data set to be categorized based on row number 2, the second row. This one, the second row. 2, 2, then comma again. Here, true, false. So I want the first one, 1. Then I will finish here. You see? So it gave me, it categorized it by itself. So everything is categorized now. You can see here. So if each of the household has been categorized as borderline, acceptable, poor, based on their score of food consumption. So, but I want to count. I want to count it. Like how many poor, how many borderline, how many acceptable do I have? So I just copied this one and paste it here. I will paste it here. So I want to count it. If I count, it is tedious. Like this is about 64 households. I don't need to count one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is tedious. Like as you have a larger database, it will take a longer time. So I will count it automatically using the Excel privilege. So equals to count function. I want um, count function here, double click count function. Then I want this column to be counted. This column to be counted. I want this column to be counted. Okay. Then I just want to count pour. Okay, here. So I have 14 pour. I will just drag 27 borderline acceptable. So this is baseline data. So we'll follow the same procedure for end line. So this is in terms of number. So I will put total here. Total equals to okay 63 respondents. So I want to do percentage since it is a sample. I want to report based on the percentage. So this equals to divided by 63. Okay, this equals to divide by 63, the same thing, divide by 63. Then I will click percentage here, percentage. So during baseline, I can say this one is baseline percentage. Okay, this is baseline percentage. So 22% of the respondents are categorized as poor food security, poor food consumption score. 27 of them, 43 percentage is under the category of borderline, while 35% are under acceptable food category. So you can see here it is 100%. So we will do the same procedure. We will follow the same procedure to calculate end line. So we'll put end line, then end line percentage. Then we'll compare the change. So this is all about how to calculate uh, food consumption score using Excel. I hope you will enjoy watching this video. So I really encourage you to practice by yourself. This is very simple. You can do it using Excel. So I really appreciate if you practice by yourself, and I will see you with another video, similar video, and showing how to calculate other food security indicators using Excel. You don't need to struggle with working and struggling with other complex statistical data analysis softwares. Thanks so much. Have a good time. Bye bye.